Hello, and welcome back. In the previous video, we created our first account and connected it to MetaTrader 5. In this video, I'll show you how I personally use Trade-lics to plan, execute, and review a trade from start to finish. One of the biggest advantages of Trade-lics is that you can start documenting a trade while you're still planning it. Instead of recording information after the trade is closed, you can capture your original analysis before entering the market and compare it with the final outcome later. This gives you a much clearer picture of how your trading decisions evolve over time. Let's assume I'm analyzing the market and identify a potential setup. After reviewing the chart, I decide that this could become a valid trading opportunity. Before placing any orders, I want to document my analysis. I'm using TradingView in this example, but you can follow the same process with any charting platform. The first thing I do is take a screenshot of the chart. This preserves exactly what I was seeing before entering the trade and creates a permanent record of my original analysis. I copy the screenshot to the clipboard and return to Trade-lics. Now I'll manually create a new transaction. First, I select the account where the transaction should be stored. Next, I choose the transaction type. In this case, I'm creating a trade. Because I'm still planning the trade, I'll set the status to planned. At this stage, I could already assign information such as the strategy, signal, or confirmation, but I'll leave that for later. After confirming the dialog, an empty planned trade is created. Now I can paste the chart screenshot into the journal section. I can also add comments and observations related to the image. You can add as many screenshots and notes as you need, allowing you to build a complete record of your analysis process. A very useful tool during the planning phase is the checklist. A checklist helps ensure that every trade follows your predefined rules. It reduces emotional decision-making and encourages consistency. Like most features in Trade-lics, checklists are fully customizable. Trade-lics includes several default checklists to help you get started, but you can modify them to fit your own trading process. Once the checklist is completed, I'll save it and continue. The next step is to define the trade parameters. This includes the planned entry price, stop loss, and take profit levels. Since I'm already using TradingView for my analysis, I can import this information directly into Trade-lics. Before copying the trade setup, make sure the account size and risk settings in TradingView match the account you're trading. This ensures that the position sizing calculations remain accurate. I'll select the trade setup and copy it. Then I'll return to Trade-lics and use the Paste from TradingView button. Trade-lics automatically reads the trade information and fills the corresponding fields. We can now see the planned entry price, stop loss, and take profit levels. Because I'm risking 1% of a $5,000 account, the potential loss is $50 if the stop loss is reached. If the trade reaches the take profit target, the potential profit is $150.
Next, I'll add additional information about the setup.
The more information you record in your journal, the more valuable your analytics and performance metrics become later. Trade-lics provides 4 customizable label categories: strategy, signal, confirmation, and tags. I'll start by creating a strategy. In this example, I'll call it EMA 200, which refers to the 200-period exponential moving average. I can assign a color and add a description if needed. Next, I'll create a signal. For me, the signal is the condition that indicates a setup may be developing. In this example, I want price to react to the EMA on the 15-minute chart, so I'll name the signal M15. Now, I'll add a confirmation. Before entering the trade, I want to see a break of structure on the 1-minute chart. I'll name this confirmation BOSM1. The final category is tags. I won't use any tags in this example, so I'll leave that section empty. At this stage, I can already assign the strategy and signal because those conditions are visible during the planning phase. Documenting this information before entering the market is extremely valuable when reviewing trades later. At this point, the trade exists only as a plan. No position has been opened yet. However, the entire setup has already been documented, including screenshots, notes, checklist, trade parameters, and setup information. Once I'm satisfied with the plan, I can place the order. For this example, I'll use MetaTrader 5, which we connected to Trade-lics in the previous video. I'll open MetaTrader 5 and place the order. To manage position sizing, I use a tool called Position Sizer. I'll copy the same trade parameters from my planned trade and create the pending order. You can see that I now have a new pending order in MetaTrader 5. Next, I'll return to Trade-lics and open the table view. Here, we can see the planned trade that we created earlier. Now, I'll synchronize Trade-lics with MetaTrader 5. After the synchronization is complete, Trade-lics displays a summary of the imported transactions. It also detects that a recently synchronized trade may match one of my planned trades. Trade-lics asks whether I want to merge them. In this case, I'll select Merge. This is one of the most powerful features in Trade-lics. It preserves everything that was documented during the planning phase while updating the trade with the actual execution data received from the broker. Notice that the trade status has automatically changed from planned to pending. I'll open the trade to inspect it. As you can see, all screenshots, notes, checklist, and setup information are still available. If necessary, I can continue adding information, such as additional screenshots and comments as the trade develops. The Notes section is a powerful text editor designed for detailed trade documentation. Like many other areas of Trade-lics, it is fully customizable. To save time, you can create and reuse note templates instead of writing everything from scratch. I'll load one of my templates to demonstrate how this works. As you can see, the template contains a structured set of questions related to the setup and the trade I'm taking. This makes it easy to document my thought process consistently by simply answering each question. The more consistently you document your trades, the easier it becomes to identify strengths, weaknesses, and recurring patterns in your trading performance. Now that we have a pending order, we would normally wait for the market to reach our planned entry price. However, to keep this demonstration short and show how Trade-lics tracks the trade automatically, I'm going to move the pending order so that it is triggered immediately. I'm now back in MetaTrader 5 and adjust the entry price. As you can see, MetaTrader 5 executes the order and opens the position. There are now two open positions. One that was already open before recording this video, and the new position that we have just created. If we switch back to Trade-lics, we can still see our trade with the status pending, along with the older open trade and its current unrealized profit and loss. Now let's synchronize the account once more and see what happens. Trade-lics automatically detects the changes, updates the transaction, and changes the trade status from pending to open. It also imports the latest execution information from the broker. Let's open the trade and inspect it. You'll notice that everything we documented during the planning phase is still there. In addition, Trade-lics has now added the actual execution details, including the entry price, stop loss, take profit, and commission. At any point during the trade, you can continue documenting your observations. For example, I'll add another chart screenshot together with a comment. Since we forced the entry for demonstration purposes instead of waiting for our planned confirmation, I'll document that as well. Recording these decisions is valuable because it allows you to understand later whether deviations from your trading plan affected the outcome. As the trade develops, Trade-lics continues to update the information every time you synchronize with your trading account. If you perform partial closes, those changes are automatically reflected in the trade history, giving you a complete record of the position management. Now let's assume that the trade has reached the take profit level, or that you simply decide to close it manually. For this demonstration, I'll close the position manually in MetaTrader 5. After returning to Trade-lics, I'll synchronize the account once again. Trade-lics updates the transaction, changes the status to closed, and imports the remaining information from the broker. Once the trade is closed, I open the Trade Review section. Here I reflect on the trade and rate different aspects of my execution and decision-making process. This information is extremely valuable because the trade review is integrated into the statistics and performance metrics. Instead of only knowing whether a trade was profitable or unprofitable, I can analyze why it succeeded or failed. Over time, these insights help identify recurring patterns, improve discipline, and refine my trading strategy. That is the real value of keeping a professional trading journal. This example demonstrates the workflow that I personally use when trading and how Trade-lics helps me stay disciplined, document every phase of a trade, and collect meaningful data for later analysis. You don't have to follow exactly the same process. Trade-lics is designed to be highly customizable, allowing you to build a workflow that matches your own trading style and methodology. The goal is simple: create a consistent process, follow your trading plan, and learn from every trade. In the next videos, we'll explore additional features of Trade-lics and show you how to get even more value from your trading journal.